Right, another really early game, again 1983, and I've mentioned this game. It's sort of like a very early basic version of Pipeline or similar games. Puzzle game, 1983. Like I said, no sprites or anything. So we'll do two houses. And this is a plumber simulator, this one. Oh crap, what's going on with the camera? That's really annoying actually. Wasn't doing that before. Okay, the auto setting seems to work better now. I wanted it zoomed in as much as possible to try and get the scan lines cleanly. Right, so there you go. This trainee plumber simulator. You have to plumb up these two houses to the water tank. Character scrolling, everything's a character. No sprites either. So that's you on your map there. So you got one house there, one house there. Graphics are mostly shit. Not very artistic at all. And you have to build it using the pipes here, so there's no time limit, but obviously the less parts you use, the cheaper it is. So I'm gonna go with one of these. So yeah, the sounds are very, very classic early computer video game sounds. They're almost Atari VCS actually. There you go. So you just have to pick up the various pieces. Just to build the actual thing you want to do, and then when you're done, which does take a while, then you can just let rip with the water tank. Now, obviously the tea breaks every 30 minutes and fag break as well combined are not simulated, so it's not a true simulation of 1980s plumbers. And cigarettes were so cheap in the 80s, even as a teenager you could actually have them. Yeah, I think that's now the right level. You've got to be careful not to put the wrong T-junction or whatever. Because if it doesn't line up, then you're in a bit of a spot of bother there, mate. I've never played this game before. Today, I should say. I had a quick go on it to make sure it loaded. Other than that, and to work out the controls, so you know, how do you actually pick up the items, how do you drop them. It's a bit weird like this, so you know, because your bloke overlaps everything. So, you know, graphically it's a bit shit. Let's be honest, you know, graphically it ain't gonna win any prizes, even for 1983. Certainly the programming is not quite, you know, what you'd expect if you owned an Atari VCS. But you know what? I'd rather play this than do a crossword. So, if you want to keep your mind active and you don't like crosswords, then I think this is for you, mate. So you've got a limited amount of cash, but there's no time limit. So I suppose the limit is really the cash limit. So that's pretty true for any plumbing business, sole trader. You've only got so much money in the bank to bankroll a new project if they don't pay you up front. Nothing unusual about that. So he is actually, apart from the actual plumbing, you know, the actual skill of actually fixing pipes together, it does actually simulate plumbing quite well, I would say. Certainly for such an early game. I don't know any plumbers that bought a Commodore 64 in 1983. I'm not saying there aren't any, I just don't know any plumbers that had one. I know people who are plumbers today who had a C64 rather than a ZX Spectrum. That I do know. See, this is annoying now. So I don't want to mess up the placement, you see. That's a bit, if that's really crap the way they've done that, if they just used a sprite. Hey buddy, don't do that, man. Come on, come on. Go. Oh, we've got a tail on the screen as well. Right, okay then. Added difficulty level for cat owners. So yeah, the plumber that sorted out the gas leak in my house that I bought. Yeah, like I said, they didn't look after this house very well at all. Bit iffy, so I probably should have come up a bit more. I'm just making this more difficult than it is, so I will just bring down more of the vertical pipes here. There we go. Would you play this longer than Tetris on the original Game Boy? That's an interesting question. That's what most puzzle games come down to. And I think the answer is no. But that's because this is not a frantic game. This is really, you know, a Brainiac's Tetris, really. Stroke Super Pipeline, stroke whatever. I mean, it's probably not the best way to do it. Simulating the bloke moving backwards and forwards between the warehouse and the actual, you know, job site, work site, whatever you want to call it. I think we're Going to need one more of each actually. So yeah, I mean, if this was a typing game, if you type this in, then oh fuck me, it'll take you ages to type this in. Oh, thank fuck for that. I thought it'd be a bit fucked there, innit? Hang on, what else do we need? We need a vertical pipe. Yep. The main sprite reminds me of Pie Man from Pie Mania, I think it is, on the ZX Spectrum. Without, you know, the big nose. Maybe he had a nose job with all the money he made from it. I don't know, mate. So, right, once you've built your pipe work with these horrendous, you know, first 8 colours in the C64 palette only, actually you have to put your hands on the tap. There we go. It's drawing in the rest of it. You can't move while it's doing this, but once it's done, you can actually move. Screen goes red, pink, sorry, the border, and you can scroll around and see what you've done, and that's it. And you can play exactly the same game again if you messed it up, or you can then try something with, you know, 5 houses. So this is quite a challenge, and the cash you've got to spend goes up. And obviously when you've got this many houses, it's going to actually take you quite a while to do it. So if the gameplay was faster, if it didn't take so long travelling between where you want to put the pipe to going and collecting the pipe, I think you play it quite a lot. So, but that's pipe, so that's pretty damn good for what it is.